Sorry for the wait, but we here now. New episode,
Voice Junkie.
2025. You know how we do it. Let's come in strong. Yeah. They try to hold us back, but they can't hold us back. Sometimes you gotta wait for good things. And believe me, this is one of those good things. Let's go. 2025. This the first pod. Can you believe it? We gotta celebrate. Hit it, Dave. Tell them. Bitches be hypnotizing sometimes. I'll never learn though. I got your picture. But fuck that, I'ma turn the page. It's hard to tell. I know those smiles is phony, trust me. I picked up the vibes. Voice Junkie. Let's go. I'm hyped. Oh, I'm hyped. Let's get I quit Meta. Yeah, let's get to the long story, or the short of it, however you want to call it. So, the reason why I quit Meta, well, I wanted to quit, social media for quite some time. It's been several months I've been kind of mulling over it and thinking about it. There's a multitude of reasons why. For one, well, I don't want to really kind of have a weird listicle of things. I'm just kind of going off the top right now. But there's a many reasons. Culturally, it's not the same. I'm old enough. I'm 40, quite as kept. I'm 40 years old. So I'm old enough to have been, there from the very beginning with a lot of these social media platforms. The start of Facebook, the start of Instagram. When Instagram was actually Instagram, before Mark Zuckerberg got his dirty little hands on it. But we'll get back to that. But social media used to be a place where you could hang out, meet like-minded people, and you share cool, quirky things about yourself. Whether it was photos, well, back then it was just photos, we didn't really focus too much on video. It was more photos and contextual things that could really, that were thought-provoking in a way. And when you had those thought-provoking things come across you, it made you want to reach out to like-minded people. So that was, the essence of social, keyword, social media. Social media isn't social anymore. The social media part, the social part of it isn't there anymore. And let me explain that. The social part is kind of what I broke down, the fabric of community. There is really no fabric of community. Yes, you got community, if you want to say, when it comes to big celebrity types and things of that nature. Social media is perfect for big celebrity types, whether it's recording artists or companies, major conglomerates, all those types of things. It's a great platform for that. It's essentially turned into a customer service wing, So that makes sense. But far as normals, like you and I, yeah, that social part has been dead a long time ago. People aren't on there. There's no normal people on there anymore. Everyone isn't a person on there anymore. Everyone on there is a brand now. Everyone thinks they're a brand. That's another part of the issue with social media. Everyone thinks they're a fucking brand. And the reality is, you're not a brand. Some people are, God bless them, but the vast majority of people aren't brands. It's turned into this weird cesspool of bad commentary and just immorality. And I just don't want no part of it anymore. And plus, I've kind of outgrown it. You get to a point where you outgrow things. It doesn't matter what it is. You can have like this, I don't know, it could be some sneakers you don't wear anymore. You just got them sitting in your fucking closet and staring at you 90% of the time. And you're saying after a while, you're going to say, you know what? I need to do something. I need to get rid of these sneakers because I don't wear them anymore. I don't have a use for it anymore. And that's where I'm at with social media. I no longer have a use case for it anymore. It doesn't benefit me personally anymore. You know, it benefits Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, the other megalomaniacs who collect your data on their behalf to do whatever they please with it when it comes to advertising and sharing it and whatever the fuck they do with it. The value that you carry to these social media networks is your data. That's the value. And yeah, they'll give you whatever you want, all the bells and whistles, while they collect that data and monetize it in a way they want to, that's best fit to them. So having an app, having a suite of apps sitting around on your phone or on your computer or wherever just to have it is not really a great use case scenario. So, for me, I just want to be more time efficient and I want to value my time and I want to value my data and my privacy a little more. It's something that I value. I've always valued those things. And it's not the first time I've quit Facebook. I quit Facebook for years before. I've written articles about it in the past. We talking a decade plus. So, I'm not no fresh sprung chicken when it comes to these types of stances. It's just, like I said, it's a multitude of reasons. And reason 100, again, I'm not really counting, is just where social media is today. Who owns it? Who runs it? You have, I mentioned him before, Mark Zuckerberg, who owns Meta. What is Meta? Meta is a suite of platforms and apps that he consolidated into one thing. So pretty much you can no longer really functionally run IG or Facebook or Threads or even WhatsApp to some extent without having some connection to the other to one of the other platforms, which he's also in trouble for by the FCC because they look at that as being anti-competitive and such, so forth and so forth, which is another reason why he's getting buddy-buddy with Trump because of the upcoming case for that. But back to what I was saying. With Meta, they own all of these apps. And what all of these apps do is collect data. And the worst thing about it is, just to go back to the social part of it and meeting people, like-minded people, and that was the foundational pieces of social media. That's no longer existing anymore. You have to pay for those foundational pieces. What I mean by that is, if you ever shared something and you wanted your 100 friends or 1,000 friends that you earned by yourself by being socially active in the real world and on social media, most of your followers won't see what you shared because the algorithm will hide it from them. So a lot of times you'll share something and you got 1,000 followers or whatever, how many followers you have, and maybe 20 of or 30 of them seen it. And you're saying, why the hell is that? That's because Meta, the company, is hiding your posts from your followers. And the only way for your followers to see those posts is for you to pay them to quote unquote boost those posts. And so, your other 100 or whatever followers can see what you posted. It's fucking ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And that's just for the average Joe or quote unquote brand. So now you look at it like, hey, I got to be a brand now for it to make sense for me to even boost certain posts that I want my friends to see, theoretically. But that doesn't happen because of the algorithm. Intentionally blocks that so you could pay the company to boost, quote unquote, boost those posts to those people that were blocked from seeing it. It's disgusting. It's been disgusting. This is stuff that I've harbored for years, really, and how I kind of gradually, slowly over the years posted less and less because of these weird arbitrary things that they put in place as a company and their policies that change almost quarterly at this point. So, there was a ton of reasons behind it. Now let's get to the morality part. Mark Zuckerberg. Now, he's like a professional wrestler at this point. I've compared him to one. If you know anything about the professional wrestling world, you have a face, a baby face, as we call it, which is a good guy. And we have a heel, which is a bad guy. Mark has played both sides. He's been a heel, started off as a heel when he started Facebook. And then over time, as he became a family man and all these other things, he started to become more human and not the bot boy that we've grown to hate. He started to, become more babyface-like, especially as, Elon Musk has continued to embarrass himself over the last few years. It was easy to start liking Mark Zuckerberg a little bit more. So he easily became the babyface all of a sudden. And then, when the moment struck or the moment was right, he stabbed us all in the back again and became a heel again. Now he's going to Mar-a-Lago, multiple trips to Mar-a-Lago, multiple trips with cabinet officials, with Trump already, and has done a complete turn now. All the moral clauses and all these happy-go-lucky diversity type policies that he put in place that was really good structurally for your company moving forward when it came to, a multitude of people and cultures and all of these things. You've backtracked on all of that because now the tides have turned. There's different leadership in place. So now I have to go the other way. So it goes to like, what do you fucking believe in, Mark? And the answer to that is he doesn't believe in anything. These guys like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk don't believe in anything. They believe in one thing, themselves, and what their agenda needs to be helped fueled and carried on. Like there is no moral compass with these guys. They don't really have a fundamental belief in anything. And that's the problem with these leaders. And it sucks. So, yeah, like I said, dude went to Mar-a-Lago. He's been chummy and real chummy with a bunch of Trump's colleagues. I'm gonna read this snippet from the New York Times. So, quote: Mr. Zuckerberg was amendable. He signaled to Mr. Miller, Stephen Miller, who's been affiliated with Trump since the first administration. He said. He signaled to Mr. Miller and his colleagues, including other senior Trump advisors, that he would do nothing to obstruct the Trump agenda. According to 3 people with knowledge of the meeting who asked for anonymity to discuss a private conversation, Mr. Zuckerberg said he would instead focus solely on building his tech products. That's it. Dude, I'm just going to focus on tech products. Don't worry about it. Yo, we're cool. Look, I'm doing the Martin thing eye to eye. We cool, dog. I'm just going to do tech products. I'm not going to censor you. Censorship, fact checking. What? What is that? We're not going to do any of those things anymore. We're going to dump all of that. And then let me get back to the to the paragraph. Mr. Zuckerberg blamed his former chief operating officer, Sheryl Sandberg, for Facebook's culture. According to one of the people with knowledge of the meeting, he said, new guidelines and a series of layoffs amounted to a reset and that more changes were coming. So everybody that was on the Sheryl Sandberg side of the company when it came to morality and culture building and, all of these human type things, like actual humans care about, they're all thrown under the bus now, along with Sheryl Sandberg, who couldn't even defend herself because she wasn't even allowed to be at the fucking meeting as he was kicking her back in. This guy is a disgusting human being. He's a disgusting human being trying to create a army of maniacs. Like, come on, bro. We're not about that. Like, so as he's doing all of these things and throwing his former COO or CFO under the bus, and backing up on her, motionless carcass as he, does this emotionlessly and kowtowing to Trump and his advisors after he was kicking Trump's back in several months back. Like, these people, man, they're shameless. They're absolutely shameless. And that was the last straw for me, really. It was the last straw for me it was the one little nudge. I'm gonna give a shout out to my cousin Cassia. She quit. She left it behind. Hit me up on Signal. Shout out to Signal, because I'll be using that as a main platform going forward for my messaging purposes. But she hit me up and told me, on Signal, hey man, I left it all behind. And I was like, man, I respect that. And, it was something that I had already been mulling over, like I said in the beginning of this, several months back, really a couple years back. And, me respecting her opinion about things and her stances on certain things, it was just something that really resonated with me. And it was just that one little nudge, along with Mark Zuckerberg's heel turn, that was enough for me to just say, all right, enough's enough. It's cool for me to leave because A, I no longer have a use for it, and B, I'm not going to continue to freely give my valuable data to someone like Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. By the way, I quit X in the summer too. So that was my stance there. And it was one of those things that, I had to do. It was one of those things that I've always done. I make these, I make these stances sometimes, and they're quiet, protests. I'm not one of those people that's got to come out and talk about everything that I do. But if you know me personally, you know that I'm very principled, and I do believe in, following up what my beliefs are, and that's the essence of having principles. You can't be a hypocrite and, jumping from side to side and wherever the wind blows, that's where you go when it comes to, your mindset. That's just not how I've been. So that's why I have always been principled in certain matters. And I've quit Facebook in the past. I've, quit Twitter. I've quit a lot of these platforms. I've quit Amazon in the past, for God's sakes. I remember going for a couple years or more, quitting Amazon once, for the first reports were coming out about the unfair treatments in the warehouses and how he underpays his workers and treat them like shit, and how their workers, can't even take breaks and they got to piss in buckets while they work. So I take these silent stances, because that's just me. I can sleep better at night knowing that I'm not just handily giving my money to a piece of shit organization. So that's my stance really with quitting Meta. That is my stance. But it's a perfect segue onto the TikTok ban, which I want to cover because it's just been so much information coming out about the TikTok ban. First and foremost, TikTok, I'm recording this on January 18th. So TikTok has one more day or less than a day left before it is officially banned in the United States. So this means that TikTok had a bill it was a bill passed in the House of Representatives, Congress. They passed a bill. That bill went through the Senate, and that bill reached President Biden, who's still the president right now for 24 hours or so. Went to his desk and he signed it into law. So the ban is official, and the Supreme Court just gave it the go-ahead to go in place, the ban. So there's a lot of things that I want to break down, because this is a whole nuanced discussion in itself that isn't being talked about by many, especially those on the big platforms, the big corporate platforms. You won't hear it. You won't hear the truth on those platforms, but I'll get to that in a second. But the banning is going down. So if you a big TikToker out there, unfortunately, your shit is going away. You're going to have to find another way to distract you. So I will as a fan of YouTube, you can catch me on there over there at YouTube as well with the Voice Junkie podcast. That's at Chuck Westworld, YouTube. But YouTube provides shorts. So if you want to scratch that itch, YouTube provides shorts, and their shorts go up to 3 minutes now. So you can get that itch over there. Fuck Mark Zuckerberg and Meta and stories. Go and waste your time on shorts. At least Google is a more tolerable company. But back to what I was talking about with the ban. The ban is in place. It's going to go in place. Supreme Court gave it the head nod. It's going down. So that means it's going to be officially banned January 19th, tomorrow, the day before Trump is officially inaugurated on January 20th. Now, a lot of things can happen going forward. First of all, I know you're probably saying, what is it to the companies like Apple or Google? You think, why wouldn't Apple and Google just continue to, as easy as business is going today, like, why not just keep it going? With a new administration coming in. Well, there's repercussions when it comes to that. These companies can't have the app in the store because they will get fined. Get this. Every company, whether it's Apple, they have the App Store, and Google with their Play Store, if after January 19th, if they have those apps, the TikTok app in their stores, they will get docked $5,000 per download. Now, TikTok, I believe, has like over 170 million users in the US alone. Let's just say, hypothetically, half of those users come back because the app is still available. Now, let's say 75 million times $5,000. I'm not going to do the math right now, but you can already imagine that is a shit ton of money that might even enter the billions for a fine. And that's just concurrent as you keep having the downloads go. So, trust me, after January 19th, you ain't going to see that TikTok app in that app store. Not if these cats want to be persecuted and fined in the future. Now, this brings on the Trump part of it. What can Trump do, being the new incoming president? Really, he can't do anything on the legal side of it. The one thing he can do is just say, hey, I'm not going to persecute anybody. I'm not going to fine any of the companies. I'm not going to even enact the law. However, the law goes on, the bill, and how the bill is written, the law goes on for 5 years. So it goes on beyond Trump's last term, second term. So whoever the upcoming president may be, they can enforce the law and enforce all finable offenses throughout those 4 years. So if I'm Google and Apple, again, it would behoove me to not listen to the law currently written. I ain't having TikTok in there. Sorry. TikToking is out of here. You have to figure out another way, people. Sorry. I ain't trying to get fined if I'm the two. Now, let's get to the hidden part of the whole matter. The part that I alluded to with the media and the corporate media, and what they really are not telling you as to why there was such an urgency to get TikTok banned. TikTok's been around for a long time. The rumor is, not the rumor, well, the fact is it's owned by a company called ByteDance. ByteDance is a Chinese company. So when you are operating inside of China, you can't do shit without the Chinese government's approval. So you can't sell, you can't operate without first their approval onto whatever your decisions are. That's what, communist countries do. This is not a democracy, right? So with ByteDance, they will be in a situation where, they're going to have to make a decision as to how, are they going to just shut down in the U.S., being that the law is the law, and just operate in China because they're still a big platform? Or is it going to be some real weird shenanigans that happens where they could sell their proprietary algorithm to another business? Who knows? Elon may want to come in. I don't know. But there's other things that can probably resurrect it from the dead. as far as on the U.S. side of things. But again, back to what I was talking about with the band and why it was so urgent to get it closed. The truth is the truth, man. They wanted to ban TikTok because TikTok was becoming a huge, huge thorn in the side of the government. They want to bullshit you and tell you that their main concerns are the Chinese government and their spying and what the Chinese government could potentially do as far as propaganda is concerned on the platform. These are all of these concerns they've had for years, by the way, and did nothing about it. Isn't that weird? They didn't do anything about it until it did one thing that harmed the government and made the government look bad. And that was the whole Palestinian issue, the whole Gaza genocide. TikTok is the blame. TikTok is the reason why most Americans know what really is going on the Gaza Strip and what the Israeli government has been doing to the Palestinians this entire time, which is ethnic cleansing. You know, it's really what it is. They were the first platform to show the dead bodies of the kids and the women and just the senseless bombings. They've been, that was the platform that really broke it to people, and the whole Free Palestinian movement. It's TikTok. They're the ones that are the blame for it. And if you know anything about the government and how the government works, unfortunately, the government works in a system where they are ran by top donors. The biggest donors in the country, i.e. corporations and rich people like, one percenters, billionaires, they run the country because they pay the politicians. And then in those PACs, super PACs like APAC, which is, American Israeli PAC of America, whatever the hell it's called, but it's the Israeli PAC. It's one of the most powerful lobbyist groups in the country, and a lot of politicians are bought off, i.e. through donations, through that lobbyist group. And this is part of the reason, APAC is another reason why, that pushed that ban forward when it came to TikTok, because it painted a bad picture on the U.S. government, and most importantly to them, painted a even worse picture on the genocidal maniacs over there that are running the Israeli government. So you can't have that. And that was the last straw for the U.S. government. They said, all right, you made us look like the pieces of shit that we are. The Biden administration mainly, because he co-signed all of this murder by providing billions of dollars for weaponry to the Israeli government. So it made it was a huge stain in this. And when he gets out of office, Biden, I'm talking about, it's going to be a huge stain on his presidential legacy. Is what he allowed Netanyahu and those tyrants to do to that Gaza Strip. But that was the last straw. And once that happened, they said, all right, it's time to move forward and do what we've been talking about for the last couple of years. And that's really ban this platform being used in our country. And that's what happened. They did it. So going forward, you're going to have to figure out another way to use that platform. Now, I was mentioning this to, privately to people. You still might be able to find a way to sideload that sumbitch on your Android device. Now, if you have Android, we all know Android allows you to download apps that are off the App Store. So there is going to be real possibilities out there in the real world that your friends or whoever or friends will have that app still on their phone, and they'll be running around and showing. Can't wait to show people like it's illegal contraband or some shit. Look! I got a TikTok on my phone. Look, right by the water cooler. Get ready for it. It's gonna happen, folks. But yeah, man, that's the insight on why I left Meta and really what's going on with the TikTok ban. You know, it's all kind of weirdly related because who does this benefit the most with TikTok being banned other than the government? Mark Zuckerberg, motherfuckers. Mark Zuckerberg will benefit the most. TikTok is his biggest competition. Hello. Now, with TikTok out the way, he'll have people, or a significant amount of people, be forced to watch his shitty reels on Instagram. See how this works? Thus, you see all the nut hugging going on with him now with the Trump administration coming in. It all relates. There is no good guys in this fucking movie. Don't you get it? But yeah, so that's my that's why I did what I did, man. I hope y'all understand. And you know what? If y'all got some similar stories or reasonings as to why you probably left Meta or any social media platform, yo, let me know, man. It'd be cool to know. Leave a comment below, or leave a voice message through the I know they have a voice message feature on Spotify or something like that, because we're hosted on Spotify. So do that. I would love to get some voice messages or some commentary on this matter if you got a similar situation or a similar story to say on why you probably don't do this anymore. I would like to know, and I will probably share in the next episode. All right?
Not a new artist, not paying respect to older artists who really paved the way. And I'm like, okay, add on to this twerking shit. Do y'all really know the history behind this? Let me just say this on here, on this platform, so I can give y'all a little history lesson of where the fuck y'all came from and where all this started, because you drop it like it's hot. Like, if you go and pull up any one of my videos, you'll see that. The same dancing 30 fucking years ago, 40 years ago. Fucking Cardi B sitting there, she going through the same bullshit, saying she ain't hip hop, she ain't this because of the music she doing and the vibe that she was on. That's why I kind of gave her respect at that moment. Keep doing, like giving her, words of encouragement. And the same thing with these young ladies. You're doing this music, you're getting criticized from one part of it. People love what you're doing, but at the end of the day, know where this shit came from and who paid the way. It's all about history with me. I respect the fuck out of Quincy Jones. Right. You know what I'm saying? People like that. I know these, I know Sugar Hill Records and all these people who've kind of paved the way for us to do what we do. And I just wanted to say that to the ladies.
But don't you think it's probably less their fault and more the culture's fault that doesn't want to teach history, doesn't want to keep passing down the history of the culture?
No, it's not really the culture. It's more of the Stephen Hills and people them like them other
like
world.
The media that controls certain things?
Who control media and who never told our story. The Source Magazine was pretty much one of the only people to tell
and
the
they were pretty accurate. Yeah.
They were pretty accurate. Yeah. Those embracing the culture and understanding what we all about,
right?
Was very important to me even then and at the time. And so it's again, I love what these girls are doing because I laugh at it. I think it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, because it's like your style has lasted all this
time.
All this long.
Look at y'all motherfuckers shaking y'all ass.
And then when they thought you was degrading women, the women took it over.
The women
that's
took
how
it.
ill it is.
That's some fucking brilliant shit.
Yeah.
That these women, the women were coming after me. I was the worst motherfucker in the world, and the women have taken over it, and they whooping the men ass right now.
Right.
Fuck it. It's only right. It's the Uncle Luke section. Fuck it. Let's jump straight to the interlude. I pay the proper homage to a legend.
Look at the titties.
Voice junkie.
There's only one place where we can go to see freaky hoes doing shows, doing tricks to make us holler on a given night, all for $1. Silicone breasts, oil on their chest, not like us but above the rest. They'll do anything to turn us on. Them hoes got it going on.
dancer. I got some money if that's the answer.
It ain't done yet. We gotta pay proper homage to bring in a section like this.
One more again.
Head down, put the poppin' on the handstand.
Head down,
Pussy poppin'.
head down,
Pussy poppin'.
head down,
Pussy poppin'.
head down,
Pussy poppin' on the handstand.
On a handstand.
Now, welcome back to our scheduled broadcast. So yeah, Uncle Luke. I had to talk about Uncle Luke because I watched the Drink Champs with him talking on the show. And he said a lot of things that was a lot of historical facts he was dropping on there. Factoids that I hadn't even realized. I already knew Luke was just this historical figure as far as fighting for our rights when it comes to putting out graphic content and putting out content in general, freedom of speech rights that Luke fought for, spend millions of dollars because they were trying to bury his ass, bury him and bury the rest of hip hop. Without Luke, a lot of the content that we're getting right now would not be out right now, period. Twerking and all of that would not be out and socially accepted the way it is without the fight that Uncle Luke had to endure against the government in the early 90s. So the clip, first of all, highlighted a lot of things. He talked about how he wanted to reach out to like the Sexy Reds and the Ice Spices of the world and just kind of educate them, put them on game about where this whole phenomenon came from, where twerking actually came from. And it made me also go down a rabbit hole and find out, like, you know, DJ Jubilee was kind of the first person, you know, when it was the song called, what is it called? Do the Jubilee All or something like that. Some crazy ass dance from New Orleans. So, you know, the term twerking is just really a New Orleans term straight from the bounce scene out there. However, when Jubilee dropped that record, it was in 93. Uncle Luke dropped Pop That Pussy in 91. So he had booty shaking, doodle brown, pussy popping, all these terms he had created several years before twerking was even catching on. So in a way, it made me think like, yo, I can understand why he has somewhat of a love-hate relationship with the term twerking, because it's not his term, number one. It's a New Orleans term. His term is the three that I already gave you: doodle brown, pussy popping, and booty shaking. Those are terms that he created. And you know, the video is there to prove it. You know, all of these videos are there to prove it. So it's just interesting. It's just a real history lesson when it comes to hip hop. Hip hop has so many different subgenres. It has so many different flavors. You know, there's inspirations all over the spectrum. It's not just rapping about street culture, rapping about, you know, the arts. It's also these elements, the entertainment elements, the dark night elements. Because let's be clear, hip hop was always a party music. It was originally for battle scenes and parties and getting up and gathering up in clubs. That's really the origin of hip hop. You know, now, of course, as time went on, it started to divert in all these different subgenres like gangster rap and drill and this and that. Yeah, but it's all hip hop. So twerking is an essential part of hip hop, but booty shaking and pussy popping was the first part of that. It made me think too, it's like, damn, did they colonize the term twerking? Now that twerking is in the actual dictionary. It's an actual word that you could search in your dictionary. Booty shaking ain't in there. Pussy popping ain't in there. Doodle brown ain't in there. Maybe it's a little vulgar for the American public. Twerking, we can accept a little bit. You know? So now that I know a little bit more about the history of it, and just knowing a lot about Uncle Luke and what he's already done for the culture, it's in a sort of weird way, it's like they're trying to erase him. A lot of people don't know this. Like he mentioned like the parental advisory sticker. I created that sticker. That they're using around right now. I created it when I won our right to give out the explicit content. Nobody knows that though. Nobody's telling the story of Luke Campbell, telling the story of Miami hip hop and its origins and its different intricacies. No one is explaining any of this. Of course it's purposeful, but it was a lot of interested things that I seen from that interview that just made me wonder, made me think like, man, this guy has just been around for 35, 40 years, doing a lot of what we see today that's accepted. He did it first. He's like godfather of this explicit, raunchy music that we're getting. All the ladies have capitalized on it. Uncle Luke went through hell, went through war, went through whatever you could think of so these women can strut their asses all over the TV screen and all over these award stages. I love it. Just like he said, it's fucking brilliant. Yes, it's brilliant, but also you need to know where it came from. You need to know why you're allowed to do it in the first place. Because guess what, honey? You couldn't do it back in those times until Uncle Luke gave it the platform. I love the fact that he's a real big history buff, that he's big on that. He don't really care about the money and all that, the fame and all of that. He cares about the history of it as well. If you don't know the history of things, you just don't know shit. I think a lot of the times the media does paint this brush. They do give out the propaganda and the stories that they want to give out. They do rewrite history. It's the truth. It's no coincidence that they kept Luke out of the history, unless you have to dig deep to find out about the history of Luke in Miami scene, because they wanted to keep him out intentionally. He kicked the government's ass, and they don't like that. The government never forgets. When they get their asses handed to them, they never forget. Ask Haiti. Sorry, Haiti. But that's how this society works, and I love the fact that Luke is going out there and he's telling his own story, because he like, man, listen, I got to tell my story while I'm still on this planet, because I'm not going to wait for those with ill intentions or whatnot to tell my story. This story needs to go out. You know what I'm saying? That whole interview, shout out to the Drink Champs for putting that out. Lately, Drink Champs been kind of, they've been putting out some good stuff lately. They've been kind of getting their footing set again. Nori been running around looking great. Grew his hair back somehow. Probably went to the Turks to get it done. Who knows? But he looks great. Great interview. So yeah, check that out. But yeah, man, Uncle Luke is a very pivotal part of this hip hop culture. And a lot of the ladies who making millions of dollars off of what he achieved and what he had created 30, 40 years ago need to, do some educating and learning about that. And people around them should put them on to Luke and Trina and all of those people. Hell, Trina wouldn't be around if it wasn't for Luke. JT Money, Trick Daddy, all of those guys are Pitbull, for God's sakes. All of these artists are offsprings of Luke and the Miami scene. And we're not even going to talk about all the athletes that he's helped along the way as well. We ain't going to talk about that. That's a whole nother story in itself with Luke. The guy is really, really, really an iconic legend, not just in music, but in business and in athletics. So yeah, shout out to Uncle Luke.
Voice check.